headquarters in Atlanta. You're watching a special edition of Weather Center Live. Thanks for joining us. I'm Kait Parker.
And I'm Bonnie Schneider. Historic and catastrophic flooding in Texas right now. And we're just getting a look and an idea of how widespread the destruction.
People, Bonnie, watching from all across the country on this very busy morning and saying, hey, you know what? I've got a kid in school at Texas A&M or Texas State University in San Marcos. Well, the thing is, those are areas that have seen a lot of flooding. And the problem is here, Bryan, College Station area, you're still under a flash flood watch. So we could see additional flash flooding today. Going down into Houston, you know, we've been telling you about this all morning. This is obviously where we saw the devastating floods overnight. So things are still saturated, water still high. Any additional rain means that we've got big problems there. That stretches all the way to the Texas coast down into Galveston. So here's where we see some more thunderstorms in the forecast today. Some down in that area where the flash flood watch is in place. But the severe weather going to be focused a little farther north along I-35 into Oklahoma City, stretching down into the Metroplex and then even back out toward Abilene, not quite to Midland, but down into San Angelo, definitely an area that's been seeing a lot of rain lately, a lot of these thunderstorms. That's where we could see damaging winds, hail, and an isolated tornado not out of the question. Look at the Torcons for today. We've got a 3 for South Central Texas. You go a little farther north, closer to the Red River, North Central Texas, you've got a 4 today. That includes the DFW Metroplex. Then you get up to Central Oklahoma, Oklahoma City. You've got a Torcon of 3 on the map today. So it's this relentless pattern. Every day you have to stay on alert. Here's where the rain is currently located. You'll notice we still had rain right around Houston, but we've got the showers that are starting to make their way through Atlanta. This is actually what's going on. This is the future radar. I'm sorry, this is later on this afternoon. Across Georgia, you're going to see several of these showers and thunderstorms. So that's going to be a little bit of a wet one. Again, we do have some of that rain left in the forecast for Houston. The DFW Metroplex, you do have some rain left in the forecast, and you could see some of those storms. Straight line winds would be my biggest concern there, Bonnie, because as that line forms out on the Boeing outer edge of that, that's where we get a lot of those quick winds that can easily go to 60 miles an hour.
Absolutely true. Great point, Kate. Well, Houston is not the only city dealing with flooding this morning. South of Austin in Wimberley, the Blanco River crested, spilling its banks, destroying hundreds of homes. That's where we find our own Reagan Medji. And Reagan, I know you have incredible images to show us what it's like there this morning.
Flooding is continuing across the southern plains, and this is after those heavy downpours brought more than 10 inches to parts of Houston overnight. This prompted the first ever flash flood emergency for the city. Joining us, severe storms, they are in the forecast once again for places like Dallas-Fort Worth. And the flooded highways, they haven't even recovered from the last round of rain.
That's true, and Dave Malkoff is live in Dallas. Dave, where you are, is the Trinity River still flooding?
And, you know, the thing is that the Metroplex, you know, they were begging for rain.
Right.
You know, in January, my grandmother was telling me that we were just never going to get rain again. And look at this forecast.
It looks like we get a couple of breaks in the action, but not by much. Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. Oh, boy, that weekend forecast, hit or miss storms going forward. So, Dave, really, that's the last thing that folks there want to see, that chance of rain and thunderstorms back for the weekend. Thank you for staying with us on Weather Center Live. I'm Bonnie Schneider.
And I'm Kait Parker. We're bringing you live pictures right now. You can see them there on the right-hand side of your screen. These are live aerials, we believe, out of Houston. You can see how quickly they're moving. You can see some emergency vehicles trying to block off some roadways there. You can see, just taking a look at this, I mean, we're seeing it for the first time as well.
Right.
It looks as though there is just, and the water levels have come down a little bit, but the situation hasn't improved vastly.
No, unfortunately, even when the rain stops, it will take a while for the water levels to come down, and so many roads are impassable. There's just so much property damage, and unfortunately, some people have lost their lives already in this dangerous flooding situation.
Right, and this really struck a lot of people overnight whenever they were in bed while they were asleep, and then all of a sudden you have water that starts coming into your home, and you have a lot of phones that will give you alerts.
That's right.
So a lot of alerts going off and people saying, hey, what's going on? Oh, flash flood warning, you know, we get these sometimes.